when he knocked on the door. I went lazy to open him. He wanted to measure us, he said. He had a notebook in which he would write things down and all sorts of bizarre devices. I want to measure you, the length and the consistencies of your bones, the distance between your ears and the length of your nose, from its root to the tip, the temperature. Are you dealing with the blood as well? I asked. Nothing internal. Maybe the size of the organs, he said, looking furtively in his notebook. Would you like a glass of water, or maybe some coffee, I asked. I wouldn't want to bother you. I would just like to measure you. I'll be gentle. You'll barely feel anything. I'm interested in the length and the consistency of your bones, in the distance between your ears, the length of your nose, from the root to the tip, I went on. Precisely, he said, nodding. I prefer you to come some other day, when he'll be home as well, I said, and I slammed the door in his face. When I looked in the viewfinder, I saw him writing something in his notebook. So the next piece is gonna be not long, but quite long short story. And I invite the gentlemen in the background to intervene whenever they feel like it. It's called The Man and the Statue. Monday, March the 16th. A man, supposedly tall, and always concerned about something. He walks fast, hands deep in his pockets, bumping into the people on the street, most of them American tourists. When I got here, there were not so many, he thinks, and he shrinks his shoulder with cold. The morning he first landed it at Rucsandra, the sky was completely clear and the wind was just as hushed as it is now. It was 10 years ago, he recalls. 1993. Prague was grey and sad back then, like an old lady who has long forgotten what love is. Today it looks like a blonde bingo with big tits, all dressed up and continuously fretting. It's almost intimidating. He chases the cheap comparison away from his mind and keeps walking. He walks, cutting into the cold weather like a soldier marching through the windy, empty fields. His mind keeps meandering. He recalls a story he heard from the kind old sociologist Musil. It seems that in Prague, the highest number of suicides is recorded on an industrial bridge somewhere in the suburbs, a bridge that goes over some houses. He imagines the people in that neighborhood looking surprised at random corpses of suicidal people penetrating the roof of their houses. He realizes he has become less and less sensitive to the charm of Prague. The problems and the black thoughts that haunted him recently almost covered his eyes with a spider coat. Who would have imagined that he will end up living in Prague and that his life would be like a novel written by Kundera before emigrating to France? His work made him a little bitter too. At first the job seemed really heroic. Now it seems somehow ridiculous to work for Radio Free Europe. Now, when Eastern Europe is free and the budget is shrinking every year. This ugly building behind the statue of Wenceslav, so wrongly occupying the space between the museum and the opera, ate some good years of his life, slowly bringing his heroism, his ideals, and the seat of his pants. The microphone has almost merged with his mouth. Deep inside, he's convinced that his teeth were destroyed by the waves the microphone emits. Fortunately, the health insurance is quite generous and will cover this cost, as it has covered many other costs. Before, he really rarely needed to see a doctor, just as he rarely went home. It was hard to see his parents aging like in a traditional Romanian fairy tale. Now he got used to using his health insurance more often, just as he got used to get more often in the plane that flies him to Bucharest. It's easier now that some of the annoying aunts that were constantly asking him, When is he going to get married have died. Lately, he seems to miss a lot the food from home. The Czechs also have the tripe soup, for example, but the way they cook it, it's absolutely sickening. Yeah. It's a soup with pieces of tripe floating above a layer of oil mixed with tomato juice. He always orders it, hoping to get the taste of home, then he realizes he just can't eat it. He walks on Charles Bridge every morning, as if there was no Vltava, as if there was no bridge at all, as if there were no flocks of tourists with their cameras hanging from their necks, as if there were no stupid painters making the portraits of the stupid tourists, as if there was no statue of Nepomuk shining by so many people touching it. Nepomuk is a kind of local Fontana di Trevi, a jukebox that fulfills people's wishes. You just need to make the wish, touch the statue in the right spot, and the wish is granted. It's that easy. He never abused the generosity of Nepomuk, first because it would be under his dignity. After all, he's a man, you know. Believing the crap about the miraculous powers of the statue, it would be like admitting that he believes in horoscope. But now the truth is that he needs something like this, an easy division of reality into 12 categories, a jukebox for chance. Nepomuk, Nepomuk. The sun that has just risen sends a beam to the pedestal of the statue polished by the hands of tourists. What if this is complete senseless? I'll just have a little fun, he says, feeling like a pensioner wearing his jacket on his shoulder to protect himself from the draft. The eternal Romanian obsession. Whatever. Nepomuk's mission is simple. He needs to help him choose between two women, a blonde and a brunette. He was extremely happy as long as he didn't have to choose between them, but now things are getting complicated because though they are more than 1,000 miles apart, they began to smell each other. Women, you needy creatures. Sasha is the name of the brunette. She waits for him at Ottopen Airport every time he lands there, and she makes him laugh. She makes him laugh out loud like he has never laughed before. The blonde Kaka is, on the other hand, he's guaranteed that he will be able to cross the bridge every morning. To cross the bridge as if there was no Vltava, no bridge, no Nepomuk, and no stupid tourists. He timidly approaches the statue, fearing that somebody who knows him might see him. He wishes he wouldn't have forgotten home his sunglasses. He waits in a row for a few seconds, then, when he gets Nepomuk all for himself, he touches the piece already touched by so many, and he thinks intensely about two women. He feels something like a light touch from behind, and then, as through the gaze, he hears someone speaking Romanian. It was so easy to do the sucker, bro. The losers who pray at the statue are the easiest to get. He hears the voice saying, and then he hears the hoarse laughter. He feels the blood getting in his head. He stands still for a few seconds, then he turns and starts to run after the voice. He got it. He faces two ogres with quick fingers and dark faces. Who are you pickpocketing, you bastards? Who, me? He screams and he feels like choking on nerves. Who, me, you asshole? He screams again and puts his hand on one of the ogre's neck. He feels that right now he could kill him without any remorse. His hand is increasingly determined on the other's neck. He has never experienced criminal instincts, nor has he supposed that they can be as powerful as the sexual instincts. He feels the same lust and the same tension slightly below his abdomen. He needs to loosen the grip. What he's experiencing right now is as strong as the desires aroused by a 10-year-old girl whose breasts have just started growing. Boss, I didn't mean to, I swear I didn't. He hears the ogre rattling, and he feels his hands starting to relax a bit without letting go completely. He closes his eyes for a few moments. His eyes are injected and hurting him. The thief has turned into a lamb. He and his partner